Article goes on, Manning speaking still. So, Mr. Duck and Run, if you stand for integrity, if you are as honest as you pretend to be, send packing those corrupt, dishonest miscreants. He didn't say it once. You know, he liked to say it more than 2 times, twice, 3 times. Eh? So he repeated his threat. So, Mr. DNR, which stands for Duck and Run, if you stand for integrity, if you are as honest as you pretend to be, if you care for the downtrodden and not only the high and mighty and their financing money, I think I better read that to you again. Manning speaking. So, Mr. DNR, which stands for Duck and Run, if you stand for integrity, if you are as honest as you pretend to be, and if you care for the downtrodden and not for the high and mighty and their financing money, develop the strength of Mahatma Gandhi, whom you have often quoted, and send packing those corrupt, dishonest miscreants whom you have been hailing as heroes recently. End of quote. My brothers and sisters, those are not my words. Those are the words of the Prime Minister of this country, Patrick Manning, the head of the National Security Council, which has information very few people have. You will recall that both the Attorney General and the DPP criticized Manning for letting that cat out of the bag. Henderson was adamant that confidential information gathered by the police during the investigations should not be released to or shared with politicians. John Jeremy admitted he discussed the issue with the Prime Minister. Now, my brothers and sisters, there can be no mistake this time to whom Manning was talking about. But before I go further, let me make it absolutely clear that I am not accusing anyone of corruption, as they have done and continue to do to me day after day. I am merely trying to figure out why Ganga Singh, my dear friend, turned against me so viciously. I can understand why Sadiq would do something like that. What I cannot understand is that this was the same Ganga Singh that Manning was praising when he resigned as UNC Chief Whip on the 28th of April, when he launched that nasty attack on me. What I also find hard to understand is an article that appeared in the TNT Mirror of the 14th of May 2006 by Charmaine Babulal, in which she's reporting on what took place in Parliament before Ganga Singh's outburst. The article reads, and I quote directly, "It was indeed a suspicious train of events. Still, up to news time, former UNC Chief Whip Ganga Singh would not disclose what kind of discussion he held with Attorney General John Jeremy in the lower house last week. The AG arrived in the chamber shortly after the sitting began and engaged the Prime Minister Patrick Manning in animated conversation for a while. After this, the Prime Minister moved onto the Speaker's platform, where he held a brief conversation with Barry Sinanan. Then, as the AG made his way out of the chamber, he stopped by Singh and they both spoke briefly, after which Singh got up and left the chamber with the Attorney General." I didn't write that. That was written in the newspaper. But it goes on to say, with all the talk circulating about who will be charged in connection with the desalination plant fiasco, it was easy to assume that something was amiss. End of article. I didn't write that. Charmaine Babulal, who was in Parliament watching them, she wrote that. Now I want you to remember that this is taking place just before Ganga Singh launches a vitriolic attack on me and resigns as the UNC Chief Whip. Something going on. I leave it up to you, for you to decide what you think was happening. The events that followed will provide you with some of the answers. On Friday, the 20th of April 2007, Dukaran and the rest of the dead in the corps voted with the PNM to defeat a motion by Hamza Rafiq. The motion was to have me reinstated in Parliament following the decision of the Court of Appeal that Chief Magistrate McNichols was biased when he convicted me. Instead of voting with Rafiq, Dukaran and Ganga and the rest of the corps voted with the PNM to defeat that motion. They sided with the PNM to keep me out of the Parliament. Would you believe that these were the same men my party and I put in there in power? Have you ever seen such treachery? But that is not all. On March 27, 2007, members of the corps voted with the PNM to send the matter to the court, thereby keeping me out of Parliament, even though the Court of Appeal had reversed the decision of Magistrate McNichols. The case still is to go on in court, and they will keep it there in Parliament because of Dukaran and the corps and Ganga Singh voting with the PNM. I want to repeat, I make no allegations of corruption against anyone. I'm merely trying to find out why Ganga Singh is behaving the way he is. Something must have taken place. What has happened to Manning's threats to lock up members of the corps for corruption? Surely when he made these allegations, he must have had some evidence, or he must have known something. Why suddenly we are hearing nothing about corruption in Disal and in Cogen? Was a deal struck? That is the issue. Was a deal struck? What were the terms of that deal? Was it similar to the threats against McNichols and Justice Sharma? Was it, we will not prosecute you if you will mash up the UNC?